Welcome back to the nutrasavepodcast. College football is here, and we have a special guest joining us again. Joined us last year before the start of the college football season. Ty, it is awesome to have you back. Looking here to preview some of South Carolina football, recap last year's awesome season, and look forward to talking about some of the things that are going to happen this season and I guess what's already happened here in week 0. But kind of touching on that, week 0, we saw what game, and I don't know if you got to watch that. Did you get the chance to watch the game that happened over in Ireland?
No.
I know you guys are very busy over there at the facility these days, but
Right. Very busy.
yeah,
Being that we just finished up, well, first of all, thanks for having me again. I think the
yeah.
last time I was here was, I think it was going into the 2023 season, I believe. The
Mm-hmm.
last time I talked, or either it was the 2024 season, I was on
It
the
was,
show.
it was, it was, it was the 2024 season. It was almost a year ago to the date.
Almost a year ago today, and we were talking about going into the year and the guys that we had and how we plan on having a great season. But being that we just finished with fall camp and how treacherous fall camp is for not just players but everybody, it was definitely something that we took a lot of heat into going in and out of the season, looking back from last year and trying to replace roles and looking at depth in certain positions where we lost and lacked. So we've really been really keying in on that. Obviously, we got VT this week coming up on Sunday in Atlanta, so we've been looking at a little bit of that, specifically looking at for me, looking at the quarterback and how he moves. Pretty bigger guy. You can't arm tackle him. He's kind of a bigger Lenore Sellers, probably not the same skill set as him, but he can move. So that's pretty much what we've been kind of eyeing in and keying on for this week. But like I said, thanks for having me again, man. We've been best buds since forever. So
Yeah, since before freshman year even started, orientation, when we sat there and talked for 45 minutes about South Carolina football, and then
yeah.
we're in the same friend group all the freshman year, didn't realize that was who we talked to. But just for the people that are new to the channel, if you want to give a rundown on who you are, kind of
Right.
what your role is on the team, and kind of your football background.
So a little bit about me. I like to brag a little bit. I'm from Mullins, South Carolina. If you don't know where Mullins, South Carolina is, all you have to do is go on your social media device and type in a guy named Xavier Leggett, and he will tell you everything about where I'm from. He was my high school quarterback. Me and him are best buds. Every time he's around, me and him hang out. Every time he's in Columbia, he comes to visit, see the team play. Typically, me and him will get together and hang out. He's just an awesome all around guy that we all love back home. But not to key in on him too much, because I can go far about him. But about me a little bit. I am student assistant for the Gamecock football team. This is my third year working with the team. I started in the 2023 season. In the month of August, going into that season, I think we had a rough patch that year. I think we finished 5-7. That was a year that was really rough for us. But then we came back this past year in the 2024 season, and we opened a lot of eyes to a lot of individuals and people across the country. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm obviously a student at the University of South Carolina. This is my senior year here, which is insane. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me. Yeah, I also coming out of high school. A lot of people don't know this. I also was recruited as a walk-on to play football here at the University of South Carolina by a coach that was here, that is no longer here. But that was back in 2022. And then things happened where I wasn't given the opportunity to be able to play. So I took a different role and became what I want to be in my future going forward, which is coaching collegiate athletes stepping forward in that role. So that's what I do now. Like I said, this is my third season. I'm super excited, and can't wait to see what's going to happen this year.
I know I have spotted you on the sidelines a number of times, mainly because I'm sitting there looking for you. But
Yeah.
for those of you, you guys often find him wearing khakis and a black shirt, usually around the defensive side of the ball. But
Yep.
I would say it's usually very hard to miss you. You are a very big dude, but
Yeah,
on a SEC football team, those guys are all just massive. But
right.
kind of going back to week 0 and going months without football, I will say I thoroughly enjoyed getting a taste of the. I don't even know if mega weekend is a great way to put it. We get ranked football on Thursday, going all the way to Sunday,
Right.
and I'm excited for it. I will be in Atlanta on Sunday to watch the Gamecocks take on those little turkeys up from the north. Um, but just kind of, what were your I guess since you guys were so busy, I guess what was your general thoughts coming off of last season? Like, what was your like, I guess, mood kind of at the end of the year? Like, if you after we'll get to bowl games in a second because I've got my own take on that. But after the Clemson game, and after we found out that we weren't going to make it in the college football playoff, you're sitting there, you're kind of locked into a room just with your thoughts. What kind of what was going through your head about that season as we just finished?
I remember. I remember just coming back uh, after we beat Clemson, which was I'm going to say a statement game. I can use that as terminology. A lot of people say Missouri was a statement game, but I think Clemson was the game that's like, okay, maybe we should stop sleeping on South Carolina. Like that game, it was a game where I feel like we really showed a lot of people who we are. Like Coach Beamer said after that game, Lenore Sellers is the Heisman guy. After that dynamic performance he put on, but going into that game, we knew what we had to do. We knew what the goal was, and Coach Beamer really prides on finishing, and that's finishing in life, finishing drives, finishing school assignments. It doesn't matter, just finish. So after the Clemson game, after the win, I just vividly remember just coming back, and we're sitting around, we're listening, and we're like, all right, and we're checking our cell phones. We're like, are we going to get in? Are we going to get in? Are we going to get a ball game? Like everybody's just so many skeptical. Everything's just going around like, what are we going to get? And so eventually, we finally heard what we were going to get, and it was like it was kind of like man, this is not what we wanted, but we're gonna take what we got. I remember even the practice, like we had to have a practice waiting for the announcement of either we were going to be in the college football playoff or not. And we got the practice day. I got the practice day, and we had all the players wearing different numbers. We had Kyle Kennard, who usually wears 5. He's wearing 9. We got Brian Thomas, who usually wears 46. He's wearing 6, which is Dylan Stewart's number. So it was just like everybody was everywhere because we were just waiting on that, that call, knowing that we made the, college football playoffs. But granted, we didn't make it, but we did get the opportunity to travel to Florida for the ball game. So that was just really how it was for us.
So, kind of going on a minor tangent. This may turn into a major tangent depending on what your thoughts are. But in the current slate of college sports in general, and college football is the main driver of this, we see the two different transfer portals, one of which kind of opening up right after the regular season ends, and thus has, I'd say, taken away some of the sparkle around bowl games, some of the meaning there. Do you feel like that? I mean, I know that the guys who get to play, and given it, a lot of times it's some of the second and third stringers, do you still feel like there's still like that sense of excitement, that sense of like I guess pride taken in the bowl games?
Well, in some cases, just being there in Florida, you definitely can feel the vibe that, obviously Gamecock country was there. Like I said, it's not what we wanted, but we took what we had and we played our best with it. With that being said, typically when you have, guys who opt out nowadays who don't want to play anymore, it does put a damper on, what you have planned for maybe that specific game or that tangible, whatever you want to call it, that kind of does take away from I guess, the joy in what you already have. So, missing, a key factor on defense or a key factor on offense, it definitely does kind of pull the, you know, excitement out of what you already have. Granted, nothing will take away from Gamecock pride, Gamecock football. We already know we have the best fans in the country, but it just being of that, it can be, effective in that type of way and sort. So that's something we can heave on.
And so I know one of the main ways a lot of people judge, I guess, how strong a conference is now is looking at their record when it comes to bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
And the SEC went 8-7 last year. I don't think that's a very accurate representation. And especially you look at, for instance, South Carolina. A lot
Right.
of what made us so great and a lot of the players that were absolutely phenomenal for us were all guys who kind of decided to take that next step and go to the NFL. So how, I guess, and you've always had that. You've always had guys who will go and sit out and be like, "Hey, I've got a good chance at making it in the NFL. I'm not going to risk getting injured at this point.
Right.
We're not playing for a national title." So how, I guess, how do we balance, like, I guess the old. I mean, even if you can say how do you balance it with the old way, I mean, how do we try and put more meaning into the bowl games?
And I mean, I don't think you can put any more meaning into it, honestly, anymore. I think it's just the way, times changed from back then. Like, you had back then when we played in a bowl game against Wisconsin, when we had, or Michigan, when we played against, we had Jadeveon Clown, we had Connor Shaw. We were given the bowl game then. We had a fantastic season, a great season, but we had the opportunity to play in the bowl game. Those guys played. But now it's totally different. And I think it's just how college football is set up now. Times are changing. Obviously, as you can see, NIL has drastically changed the college football standpoint. I mean, these guys, they're almost making what you got Lamar Jackson and these guys in the NFL. They're right there around the nickelback area. Maybe not as much, but they're making that, that money. So I don't really, you really can't, if you have the pride for your team, you're going to play. If you, and I'm not going to say that nobody doesn't have the pride. They don't love their team. It's just that I guess nowadays college football is drastically changing, and there's just really nothing. It's something that can be done, but right now it's just nothing that is being done. So,
Quick shameless plug. I'm a big Saints fan.
mhm.
Kai Kroger made
Right,
the starting punter job today. Spencer Rattler announced his QB1. Big
right,
day for Gamecocks in New Orleans. Torselli Simpkins, he's not starting, but I think he made the roster.
he did.
So that's three guys all from the same Beamer kind of group
Right,
um, that'll make it. But kind
right.
of moving on, and you mentioned the Missouri game. You mentioned the Clemson game, both of which were fantastic games for the Gamecocks. Which one was your favorite from all of last season?
My favorite game last year, no doubt in my mind. My favorite game last year, and some people probably will be like, "What?" But my favorite game last year was Missouri. Some people probably will say Clemson, but Missouri was my favorite game. And I'm going to tell you why it was my favorite game. So coming out, uh, we already were like, if I don't know if anybody watched the Netflix series, but typically you will forget how the season dynamic was until you go back and rewatch. So, we came out, we were playing good, we kind of fell off and we lost to Ole Miss and LSU. And then, we had to, Bama came, we lost to Bama. And, it was just we were trying to come back and, shape and put ourselves out there that we are a team that can be something. So we come out and we have Missouri. Granted, I can't even tell you the last time we beat Missouri in a football game. I think the last time we beat them was the year when we had Hayden Hurst and Debo Samuel, Bryson Allen Williams, and that was in Missouri. That was, I think, 20. Gamecock fans don't kill me. I was saying 2018, 2019, around that area. I think it was the last time. So having them come here and we're playing for the Battle of the Real Columbia, that was already a chip on everybody's shoulder by itself. And we played fantastic down the stretch. And then we were up by a lot, and then somewhere along the lines, they just came back and they crept on in through the back door, and then we're like, man, we have a ball game. So for everybody who doesn't know, I'm going to take you back. There was this play towards the end of the game. I believe it was 4th and forever, and
It
we
was
had
fourth and 11, I think.
4th 11, and we had the quarterback last name Cook, which we all thought. Oh no, we didn't. We knew he was going to play, but they put out to us that he wasn't going to play. But we knew that he was going to play. He threw, I guess, a deep pass to Luther Burden, and he happened to catch on the sideline with one hand. And we're all just like, it was literally like the whole stadium. You couldn't even hear. It was so loud in there. We were like, yeah, we know it's 4th and 11. Offense, get ready. You know what I'm saying? You know, we about to go down and win this thing. He catches it with one hand and he scores a touchdown. And I can't remember exactly how many seconds left it was in the game, but you could just feel the. Do you remember how many seconds it was?
I think it was about a minute and a half.
A minute and a half left. You could just feel the air from the stadium just get sucked out. Everybody was just like, wow.
You could hear a pen drop.
Exactly.
Dead silent.
You could hear a pen drop. So he caught the pass on one of the greatest DB safeties. He played all across the field, Jalen Kilgore, the one of the best we have on the team right now. He caught a pass on him, and he came back to the sideline, and his brother GK, Gerald Kilgore, nobody said a word to him. Nobody said a word. He walked over, he picked up the iPad, he watched the play over, and he sat there. He went to himself. The whole sideline, nobody was upset. Nobody was, on a high end. Everybody was calm, cool, and collected. The next series, we were on offense, and that probably was like watching a movie. Series of highs and lows. Literally, I remember the play, and everybody probably remember this play. Lenoris drops back, and he gets rushed from both defensive ends just come down and crash and rush. And we're like, if that sack is made, game's over. If that sack was made by that number 15 from Missouri, the game was over. He just dips and just comes right out of it and just throws a complete dot to Brady Hunt. I'm sorry. And we're all like, wow, we actually have a chance. And then for the magnificent play that probably sent Gamecock football into a frenzy, the run.
Before that even happened, there was another play. I can't.
I know which play it was. I'll tell you.
I can't remember if it was Larvadane or who it was.
It was Campbell.
Campbell hit him on the crossing route, and I was like, "Sweet, we're in field goal range. Tie it up, send it overtime."
It was Campbell. Campbell's a dog, man. I wish we would have got the ball to him a lot more throughout the season, but he came across, and I remember I'm just standing there, I'm just watching it. He catches it, and I'm like, oh, he's running, and I'm like, score. He gets out of bounds, and we're like, oh yeah, like you said, field goal range, we're good. And the next thing you know, we run a shovel pass to Rocket Sanders, the guy who everybody loves around here. And he just flicked it off to him, and I'm telling you, he probably ran over 5 people to get into the end zone. And that probably was not only the best experience, but probably the loudest I've heard Williams-Brice Stadium since I've been around prior to when Xavier Leggett had that long run against Texas A&M our freshman year. So that was truly that was the best game I've probably attended here since I've been here.
That Missouri game is up there for me, and I'm hoping that Clemson this year at the end also produces fireworks. I'm hoping that's a top 10 matchup. But you mentioned that Xavier Leggett opening kickoff touchdown against A&M.
Right.
That's one of my favorite plays of all time.
For sure.
I mean, you look at it, we were 0-8 against A&M. They're coming in all cocky, going and doing their little midnight chant on our state capitol steps, and he comes out. They nearly push him out of bounds, and he just breaks one free.
Yep.
And I remember because we all sat together during the A&M game right there in the front.
Yep.
You didn't have to walk to the bushes. The crowd pushed you.
Everybody pushed you to the bushes. Yeah. I remember just vividly like watching him run to the sideline, and my thoughts are he got tackled. So I'm going to like turn around and go back to my seat. and I just feel everybody just lean towards me in the stadium. Just you just hear like a noise just go up, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And I just see him running with one shoe on his foot, just running out the field. I'm like, "What is going on?" But that was a great experience too.
So we've mentioned the Rocket Sanders touchdown play.
Right.
Do you have a top 5 plays from last season?
Oh, top 5 plays. Oh, that's probably. I'm gonna put that at 3. I'm gonna put top 5 plays. Wow, that's great. Wow, that's a great question. I'm gonna put the TD from the North against Clemson. Which is 2, but it was the one where it went viral where you could hear Coach T. White in the headphones saying, "Go no no," and you got D'Lo and everybody's like, "He's a freaking animal." Coach Shula, he's everybody just talking in the headset. That's probably up there. It was not probably that's up there. Um, that's 2 plays. I got 3 more. Which one I got? I got. Man, that's a great question, Briggs. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go back in time. I'm gonna
One of
put.
my one of my favorites, this might help you out a little bit,
Yeah.
was towards the end of the first half of the LSU game. We were starting to break away, and Rocket just break. I think this may have even been in the second half. Rocket broke free for like a 60-yard touchdown run, and
Right.
that gave me because at that point I think it was Robbie Ashford that he had to come into the game because the Norse twisted his ankle,
Right.
um, and that gave me hope. I was like, oh my goodness, we might actually do this.
Yep. Okay, so you helped me out. So the run against LSU by Norris, the handoff and the run by Norris, when he literally came to the sideline and was like he was looking at the board while he was running to make sure that nobody was behind him. That's 3. I'm trying to find a defensive play that kind of got me there. Um, People don't remember this, but Debo actually caught a one-handed interception last year in the end zone against, I believe it was Walford or somebody, but it was a play that nobody really talked about, but he literally caught a one-handed interception in the end zone. That was another one that I was like, wow, that was clutch. And then I'm gonna go with the Jalen Kilgore interception against Missouri to seal the game last year.
It's a very solid top 5. Hopefully, this season we'll be able to come up with like 10 just straight off the top of our head.
We have see the thing is we had so many great games this year that it's
We
so many that you're trying to replay in your head that you can see because we had so many. We had a lot of great plays this year that that Coach D'Lo and Coach Shula and everybody on the offensive staff came about and did so. Yeah,
and that was one of the things that you talk about kind of bowl games losing their lackluster. That not having Dow Loggins kind of there to help. I mean, he's been there all season. I know Shula's been there as well, but just have that extra like mind. Great coach from what I've seen. Did great with the helping the recruit get Rocket Sanders over here, but that was a tough loss.
it was just not have it's hard to adapt when you've been doing something so long for the whole season, and then you have that extra set of eyes, or you had I hate to go back time, but you had Coach Yurachek up there too. Coach Yurachek with another set of eyes that helped with the offensive side of the ball, and those two up there in the booth, and you had of course Coach Shula, who's a fantastic coach. I can't wait to see what he put on display this year, but that kind of did put a hard damper on what Norris was used to, and playing styles, so this year it'd be a little different. Obviously, everybody would be on the same accord, same page. I think I watched the interview with Coach Shula saying he hasn't exactly determined where he wants to be this year, whether it's upstairs or it's downstairs on the ground. I think he'll probably lean more to being on the field. But that's something that we'll have to wait and see this Sunday. So excited about that.
So last year was Texas and Oklahoma's first season in the SEC.
Right.
One had a great time, I'd say. The other one, not so much. Um, just general thoughts on
Mm-hmm.
them coming and kind of their first taste of the SEC?
I think it added more. You for one, I wasn't surprised at how Texas played. They had a lot of people who came back from the previous year who were some great guys, and under great leadership. Texas has got a team full of dogs. I can't lie; they have a great group of guys. So I really wasn't surprised at how they performed. Oklahoma, on the other hand, they had a more welcoming of, I like to call it, welcome to the big leagues, welcome to the SEC. Obviously we played them and we absolutely dominated on all cylinders against them when we played them. A lot of people speculated that we wouldn't, but I knew we would because that's just who we are. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised, but I think overall adding them to the SEC did add more. I think buzz and excitement to the SEC. It's hard playing the SEC. It's not like the ACC, shots fired. But yeah, it's hard playing over here. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be big. You gotta be a big man to play over here. So everybody can't do it. So, but they by them being here, they fit in really well.
So you mentioned the firing on all cylinders. I was home for fall break watching the Oklahoma game,
Right.
and that was the most. I'd say that was the second most excited I got on my couch all season
Right.
when you had the Tonka Hemingway scoop and score,
Yep.
the Eamon Wari 70-yard pick six.
Yep.
Um, I think Tonka got another touchdown there too. I think he had two touchdowns, and it was 21-0, 5 minutes in the game, and I was like,
5 minutes.
awesome. And that was a game where Oklahoma, I believe, was favored by 9.
They were favored. Yeah, they were.
So it was good to stick it to them. We'll hopefully get another chance to do that this year. But when I looked at Texas's schedule, I thought they kind of had an easier path than most in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
They played Georgia. I think they played Georgia in the regular season and then the conference championship.
Right.
I think Georgia beat them in the regular season, but then, or maybe the other way, Texas may have won. I can't remember. But they played Georgia, and then I think they played Florida, but Florida didn't have DJ Lagway, who I thought was a major proponent of that offense. And it was kind of the same thing where it was like, you take Lenoris out of the offense last year, and we had Robbie Ashford. Absolutely no offense to Robbie Ashford at all. Just throwing him into the situation that LSU game, I thought was just too much for him to handle. It's just throwing every which way, and I think the kind of offense just kind of stagnated there. The same thing with Florida having to throw in their backup when Lagway was hurt. But I thought that their schedule was easier than most. Wasn't the gauntlet that you usually see, but we'll see how it goes this year. I think they play the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are looking to make their national title run. We host. I'm excited for that game because, as you are well aware, they will be warming up right in front of the student section, which I'm sure Pavia will get an earload from everyone.
Right.
And I don't know how you can say you run Tennessee when we put 28 up on you in your own stadium, and I think you only scored 7. So
that was correct. It was 7. I was there.
Yeah. Did you guys get to fly to that one?
No, we had to. No, we drove. The team flew. We drove all the way there. It was probably the most uncomfortable ride all the way there I ever experienced.
Yeah. Have you? Because I remember your first year doing the managing. You got to fly to Missouri.
I flew to Missouri. Yes.
And I think that was the first time you'd been on a plane.
The first time ever it was.
And so, have you been able to get on a plane again since then?
So, I have not had the opportunity to fly since then. But this year, I do. I will be flying to LSU. I will be flying to the team I thought about. Pretty much every, I can't think of my mind is going blank. Every game I'm going to that's away. The only game that we are not flying is Ole Miss, and it is because it's less than 10 hours. So every other game that we're going to, I will be on the plane. So Texas A&M, I'm flying. LSU, I'm flying. Missouri, I'm flying. So
I will say the one downside to flying, I guess I think they have a Buc-ee's in College Station, but
right.
Bucky's is always a fun stop to make when you're driving. Okay, back on topic. Um, this past year was first year of the 12-team college football playoff, and
Mm.
they're already looking at expanding it again. But what were your, I guess, thoughts? I guess pros cons to how they were able to do it this year.
I think, honestly, I'll be honest. After what happened with us, I really didn't really give heed into it as much, because it took so much out of our program that we had a great season as such, and we didn't obviously get in. But I think it was some great teams in there. We had some great people who highlighted from the games that I did watch. Obviously, we had uh, I can't really say his name the way he probably would want me to if he knew me, but Cam from Arizona State, he performed really well. I watched him scatter he he performed. I watched him play. He was actually somebody that caught my eye who was really well. Um, uh, who else did I pay attention to? I obviously watched Texas play. Um, so yeah, like I said, I really didn't kind of give too much heave into it after we played, but it was certain games that I did watch that I was like, oh yeah, they playing good. But I think the game with Arizona State, I can't remember exactly who they were playing, but that was a great game that I kind of gave into. I saw something earlier about home field advantage and how that played a huge part in some things and some other things I was reading up on. Yeah, so
I my big take from it was a lot of those first round games were not fun to watch at all.
yeah,
I mean, a lot of those end up being blowouts. Texas blew out Clemson. Penn State blew out SMU, and that one was done in the first quarter.
done first
Um,
quarter. Yeah.
Trying to think of who else.
Wasn't Boise State somewhere in that? Were they in that?
Boise State got a bye because they were ranked higher than AC Clemson was. So Clemson had to, even though they were a conference champ, the way that they structured the top four conference champions getting an automatic bye.
Mm-hmm.
Boise State got into the second round, and then
Okay, gotcha.
I think they played Penn State, and that was still somewhat close. In which, for all the betters out there, I mean, outside of Ashton Genty, I don't know what else that Boise State offense has.
Yeah, I think that's why everybody was so keyed in on it. It was just because of Ashton Genty. He brought so much. Actually, I'll be honest. I've before Ashton Genty, I've never even really keyed in on that. That team, and so he brought a lot of buzz, and the fact that he was the running back in the backfield, standing straight up. Kind of he brought buzz to the team. So and then obviously his situation with the Heisman. So. That was a lot. So yeah, like I said, never really paid any attention. Yeah,
I know Oklahoma's already taken a beating so far on this episode, but I don't know. Do you remember? I don't know if you've probably seen highlights of it, but watching Boise State versus Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, I think it was 2011.
I remember a little bit of it. 2011. Good lord, I remember bits and pieces of it because, like I said, I just started getting into the wave of Boise State last year. But I like to go back sometimes and look at a lot of older games. That's something that I did during fall camp while I was staying at a hotel. I was like looking at literally older games from back then. But yeah, I remember a little bit about that game, a little bit about
So
it.
correction, it was 2007. So even
So
earlier, that was the hook and ladder play from Boise State. I don't think that was the Statue of Liberty year, but that was they scored on the hook and ladder and then went for it for two for the win and ended up beating Oklahoma.
wow.
So again, another rough one for the Sooner fans, but
Yeah.
they'll get there someday. I I do want to get your thoughts on this real quick. This wasn't something that I had written down, but John Mateer has been getting an absurd amount of hype, and the way I look at it is he hasn't really proved himself in anything yet. Coming out of Washington State, he played a bunch of Group 5 teams because the Pac-12 dwindled down to the Pac-2. And so now he was ranked as a fairly high transfer. And I think I think the big thing leading to a lot of this is his ranking and kind of like I guess rating would be a better way to say it, in college football, 25, 26. Uh, so do you think that people's ratings in the game is leading to either more or less hype in like reality?
Yeah, I think so. Typically, everybody looks at ratings now. That's just something everybody look at. It's got to the point now where ratings are literally in the games that we play, college football. Madden. Everybody wants to see what's their rating on my. And so I think that's really what it is. Ratings play a huge part now. I mean, that's just something that it is. No matter where you go, like especially in his instance, being where he is, ratings does play a huge factor. So yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, that's just what it is, though.
Okay, now for the big question. We talked about bowl games a little bit already,
Right.
but do you think the SEC still kind of runs the land in college football, or is the Big Ten starting to take over? They've won the last two national championships with Michigan and Ohio State, but prior to that, the SEC has just dominated since even I think it was '97. From
Right.
then on, it's I think it was 17 national championships, um, and that's including Texas and I think Oklahoma had one in there. But even if
Mhm.
you take those away, I think it was six or seven different teams: Florida, LSU, Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. Those are just the ones immediately coming to the top of my head.
Auburn was somewhere in there, right?
Auburn did win one with Cam Newton.
With Cam Newton, yep. So, um, I will say this: 2 years or 3 years would not define how dynamic the SEC has impacted college football. So I will say this firmly: the SEC still does run the college football because it's just you just think about the years, man. You had the Saban era where he was just absolutely just murdering it, and then you had Georgia, who these past couple years previously was just the dog, literally. So what I'm saying, and we went back like you just said just now. You had Florida, Auburn, all these other teams. This team will be there. Trust me. But yeah, we had all these teams that in the SEC that's completely dominated. So I don't stand on anything with the Big Ten or any other division, but the SEC still dominating the college football playoffs. Well, playoffs in general, just college football.
So kind of lost my train of thought there, but yeah, I really did lose my train of thought there. Okay, I'll just move on. Major news coming out of Colombia. I'd say about a week ago now. It's been out there for about a week.
Right.
The switch from Under Armour to Nike. What are your general thoughts on it first? I'll give my take next. But
um, my takes from it. Well, we're here. Since I've been here, I've heard a lot of people, like I've had friends, and she'll probably see this podcast. She's like, he's talking about me, but typically when we used to play like Florida or all these other schools who they would come on the sideline and they'll have the latest the dunks on and the Jordans and stuff like that. They're like, oh, y'all need to be like y'all need to get Nike, well, I guess we're here now. So it's something that came about. I guess the fans wanted it. I think it's been 10 years. I saw a documentary or a news article saying for the past 10 years, fans have been wanting, us to switch to Nike. So apparently it's no longer, well, it is still, protect this house, but now it'll be just do it. So,
so, as someone who's played sports his whole life
right,
and played hockey, that's really the only one where I guess this is super applicable. But in my extremely humble opinion,
right,
I'm a big Under Armour guy when it comes to like the actual garments you wear when you're playing. I think
right,
Under Armour far and away has like the actual like best like performance clothing. Now, when it
right,
comes to footwear, Nike's got better cleats.
right,
I Under Armour's cleat selection is not the greatest. I didn't really play any sports where I needed cleats, so that's
mm,
why I leaned very heavily towards Under Armour. But when you look at like again the dunks, the Jordans, all of that, like the streetwear, that's something that Nike dominates and is going to dominate till the end of time.
To the end of time, right?
So
That's true.
I think that I've loved what uh, Donati has done in his. I think I think this is his first full year as AD,
Mhm.
uh, but I he's done great things. The new I know there's been very mixed feelings about the sponsorship on the football field. Um, I don't know. Like, have you guys practiced on top of like that logo yet? Like, how do you like some of the players feel about it?
Nah, we haven't practiced on it yet. Not yet, but I mean, I don't think I don't think really the players really kind of pay attention to it because they're really not going to pay attention to it. I think it's just really about with the fans and you don't got the Quandre Smith backpedaling, looking at this the logo on the field. So yeah,
So I think it's good to kind of get out there and kind of get ahead of a trend that I think is going to happen, especially with the in the age of kind of seeing like, hey, we're doing all the revenue sharing now. It's another stream of revenue for the school to bring in
right.
so that they're able to kind of share that with players, enhance facilities all around the table. Um, who do you who do you think is the most exciting? I'm going to say outside of Clemson because that's in its own kind of stratosphere. But who is the most exciting matchup for the Gamecocks this upcoming season?
Most exciting matchup for the Gamecock. I think for me, and I'm just going to speak for me, but I think the most exciting matchup this year will be Alabama. I'm going to stand with that. I think Alabama will be a great matchup. Having them at home already off rip is just magnificent. I think the last time we beat them was when we had Stephen Garcia at quarterback, and we played them here, I believe, and that was a game that people still talk about to this day, and I think it will live forever on. I believe that game was a failed storm, and this year we were playing them at home. I believe it's going to be homecoming. I'm going to guess that the game, I don't know exactly what time it is. Maybe they already listed. I don't know. I'm going to say it's probably going to be a 12 o'clock game or between that 12 and 3 range, depending on where the other games will be going on. But hopefully that turns out to be a great game.
So the two time slots that they have so far are 3:30 to 4:30 as a possible start, or 6 to 8 p.m., which I am much in favor of the latter. As we all know, a night environment in Williams-Brice Stadium is ruthless.
It gets
You get
scary.
the lights going, it gets the crowd buzzing. No one likes playing under the Carolina
Nobody.
sun.
Nobody.
That's just miserable. It's
Yeah.
miserable for the fans. It's miserable for the players. It's 95 degrees with 95% humidity. And you wouldn't think it's possible until you're down here. And
It-
it's
That's
just,
true. That's true.
um, I would agree with you. I'm looking forward to the Bama game. I'm also looking forward to the Ole Miss game.
Right.
I know it's away, but I think it's a chance for this team, and there's a lot of guys who are returning, for them to kind of have a chance to get back and get even. They blew us up here in Williams-Brice. The Ole Miss last year was a team where if you got behind early, it was done.
It was done.
They didn't really give up many leads, so you had to kind of keep them close. And we saw that with Kentucky. We blew Kentucky out of the water, but Kentucky was able to keep it close against Ole Miss, kept it close the whole game, and ended up winning it. So,
Yep.
I mean,
True.
sometimes the ball breaks a different way, but
Right. It does. That's any given Saturday. Any given Saturday.
and that's one of the things about the SEC that's different than a lot of these other leagues. And you look at like the ACC, you really have Clemson at the top, SMU and Miami are kind of in that second tier, and then below that, there's no one.
Nobody. Yep.
There's no one that will legitimately compete for the ACC outside of those three teams.
Yep.
You look at the SEC, there's seven
Yep.
seven teams that could legitimately kind of, depending on the way the ball breaks, you could see make a run and go to the SEC championship game. I
Every
know
year.
Texas is a heavy favorite. We haven't seen Arch Manning really play meaningful football. Now that will change in Columbus this weekend when he's kind of thrown to the dogs early. But you get Texas, Georgia, Bama, and even in the Kalen DeBoer area, they're still very good.
Yep.
South Carolina, we'll see what Tennessee is made of. Ole Miss, uh, and so the depth of the SEC, and yeah, you're gonna when you have so many good teams like this, of course you're gonna get losses.
Right.
I mean, like the parity, it's so much more even. But then, like if you were, and I saw this, someone said Nebraska would be. I think it was Dave Portnoy said Nebraska would be able to win the SEC. I don't think Nebraska would win 3 conference games in the SEC, having to go and play us one week, Bama another week, travel to Georgia. I mean,
It's
not many
scary.
teams are built to be able to compete like that
Right.
every single week.
It's true.
I think the SEC gets some unnecessary hate. There's a reason it's the best. There's a reason so many national champions come from it. There's a reason so many of the best teams that you talk about are from the SEC.
Are from this, right. That's
I
true.
mean, look at the NFL nowadays. Derrick Henry, product of the SEC. Jadeveon Clowney wasn't really a big NFL guy, but had one of the biggest hits ever in college
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow, again, wasn't a big pro guy. Cam Newton was good for a couple years, but Baker Mayfield, hey, he's rocking and rolling now.
A lot of people that we know for the NFL has been a part of the SEC. That especially like in dominating positions, like quarterback. You still got Bryce Young, and at the Panthers, like I said, you got Derrick Henry. You got Liga not playing receiver over there. A
Joe
lot of
Burrow.
Burrow. I can't forget about him. He's still dominating. So the SEC, man, it produces. Like I said, it's big boy ball. Everybody can't do it. So
So it'll be interesting. And correction, I will admonish myself there. What was his name? Baker Mayfield was on Oklahoma when they were still in the Big 12. Kind of blends my mind a little bit when
yeah,
they,
yeah, I get that. Yep, yep.
but he played like an SEC quarterback. I will say that
Yep.
he had the attitude of one. I mean, I'd say his kind of swagger. Him and Manziel kind of had the same thing. I can see kind of Pavia not taking the Manziel role because that Manziel's league of his own with the partying and all that, but kind of like that Conor McGregor attitude of I'm just going to walk around with my nuts hanging out.
Yep.
So
Can't forget about Jalen Hurts too, even though he went to Oklahoma, but he did start at Alabama. So yep.
Tua as well. He needs to put a guardian cap on, preferably sooner than later. Throwing up gang signs every time he
Oh boy.
um. So now, this is where you very good at your prediction last year. You said the Gamecocks would make the SEC championship. We were 2 kicks away from not only an SEC championship, but also a likely shot at a home field advantage in the college football playoff. Do you think the Gamecocks have a shot at winning the SEC championship, making it? And if they do, who who do you think is going to have to step up and play a major role? And we had guys like Kyle Kennard, Demetrius Knight, um, Torricelli Simpkins, guys that played a big role for us last year, go off and go to the league. So who's going to have to fill in those holes to make it a reality for us?
It's a great question. Obviously, we do have the opportunity to go to the SEC championship. We did last year. I'm never going to say we're not because we produce and we always have the knowledge and the mindset to do as much as we can. Every day to prepare us for the games on Saturday. Coach Beamer prides us on accountability, trust, toughness, and compete. Every day those are the things that he instills in not just the players but everybody. You know what I'm saying? So the SEC is something that is not our finishing goal, but it is a goal that we will reach. And yes, we do have the opportunity to win. When we get there, the way Coach Beamer is shaping that program around. A couple guys that have to step up this year. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, we lost a lot of roles and depth. Guys like I said, the whole D line from last year, they're gone. Besides Dylan Stewart, Our two interior guys, kudos to Tonka and Boogie who were here, who made a great impact on Gamecock football for the years they were here. And Kyle, coming in 1 year and just making that his name known as one of the best edge rushers in the country. So, a couple guys that have to step up for me this year. From the offense, I'm going to say Nick Harbor. He has to step up a lot this year. He will be a primary guy for us, obviously. Jared Brown will have to step up as well. We utilize him a lot. Great guy who came out of Portal from Coastal Carolina, who was a great asset to the team. Obviously, the whole offensive line has to step up. Like I said, we had Kamar Bell last year, Torres Simpkins. We have Casey Harry, still who's an absolute dog who's getting better every day. And then we also have we can put Tree, we can rotate Troll. So the whole offensive line really has to step up. As far as the defensive side of the ball, Sean Murphy, he has to replace the role of Demetrius Knight, who played like an absolute animal last year. Brian Thomas Jr. He's going to be the guy that I will tell everybody to keep their eyes on. He's going to be a force to reckon with. He has to step up and make plays for us this year a lot as an edge rusher. And then stepping up this year, Peyton Williams. Peyton Williams is basically going to be kind of, being that guy who, Nicky Milwaukee was. Peyton Williams, I don't know if Gamecock fans can go back to 2022 when we played Tennessee here in Columbia, and he came in for Nicky Milwaukee after he got ejected for a targeting call and played his absolute what off, as Coach Beamer would say. So he is now here. He is out here. I think it's his senior year, and he would be another guy that has to step up. Obviously, Lenoris is going to be Lenoris. We have the depth in the running back room, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit. But yeah, those are a couple guys who have to step up this year. So
I look forward to seeing it. I think this is a huge year and kind of, I'd say, a major role in defining Beamer's legacy here at South Carolina.
right,
You've had the 8-4 season in his second season. You mentioned us dropping back to 5-7, missing the bowl game, and
right,
then going last year, surprising everyone, just wowing the nation, going 9-3. Lenoris blows up on the stage and becomes a Heisman contender this year. And so, what Beamer does with everything and how he's been recruiting and how he's continued to recruit, the 2026 class is already shaping up to be incredible.
right.
So, the future is looking bright in Columbia. I'm very excited for it. So, very excited for this season, especially with the kickoff here in Atlanta. Hopefully, we start the season in Atlanta and end the SEC season in Atlanta. I would like
Right.
to see our actual season end with a
Right.
very nice trophy. Knock on wood. But so kind of shifting to week one, do you have any major games outside of the South Carolina game? I know you guys are pretty hyper focused on that. Like teams that should be on upset alert.
Well, a game that I will be watching is LSU and Clemson. That's one game that I will be watching for sure. Eager to see how that turns out for the Tigers over there with Coach Sweeney. See how that works out with them, and then Ohio State and Texas. I'm going to watch that. That's going to be something that I'm pretty sure will be exciting for all football fans. And obviously, you got Bama and FSU. The two teams that I named at the beginning are the two teams that we do play this year. And then obviously, we do play Bama this year. So do a little bit of watching and scouting, see how everybody looks, the first couple games and go from there. So, yeah, those are the couple games I'll be keying in on.
So FSU, I know, had a rough season last year. They bring in transfer quarterback Thomas Castellanos from Boston College. He's been running his mouth much to the likes of Diego Pavia. Do you think this is going to be a situation similar to when the lineman from Vanderbilt a couple years ago decided after they started 4-0 was like, this is the kind of ball we play here, just for Bama to come in and run them out of their own house 52-0? Do you think we're going to see a situation similar to that on Saturday?
We might. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I hope nobody, talks the talk like that and that ends up happening to you. But I mean, hey, I vividly remember that. But yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. It might. I don't know. But hey, we'll see.
Well, we just got one more thing. And as a disclaimer to the NCAA,
Right.
Ty had absolutely no choosing in any of this. This was all my doing. Week one picks coming up. We got Baylor money line over Auburn, ECU to cover plus 12 in Raleigh at NC State, Texas money line in the shoe, Bama to cover 13.5 at Florida State, Clemson to beat the Tigers from Baton Rouge, Tennessee to cover 13.5 against Syracuse, Notre Dame money line at Miami, North Carolina money line versus TCU, and then of course South Carolina. I think it was -9 last time I saw them against Virginia Tech. So we'll see how it all plays out. But just as a disclaimer, we don't want Ty betting. He works with the team. He's not allowed to bet. So
Right.
that's all me. I'm see it with South Carolina football, although I am a major fan.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, ceremony.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming on, Ty. Truly a pleasure being able to talk to you about football. I know we could go on for hours, but I don't think
Yes.
people want to listen for hours. So, well,
Yeah, man.
good
I
luck.
appreciate me.
Good luck with the prep this week. I look forward to seeing you in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, man. We'll get up. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right, bro.